They say some kings die with honor, but Joseph Merrick, known in whispers as Spain's exploding emperor, met an end so foul, so grotesque, that even death seemed disgusted by him. From his earliest days, Joseph's body betrayed him. He was born frail, his spine crooked, his features twisted in ways that unsettled courtiers who gazed upon him. Whispers filled the palace, a curse upon the royal bloodline, God's punishment for centuries of greed and sin. But Joseph, stubborn and proud, demanded his crown, demanded respect, demanded that Spain bow to him. He wrapped himself in velvet and jewels, hoping they would blind his people to the truth, that beneath the silks and gold their emperor was falling apart. At feasts he sat stiffly at the head of the table, his body trembling, his hands blotched and swollen. Dishes of roasted meats and rich sauces would be laid before him, but Joseph could barely eat. The food rotted on his plate as he sipped wine to hide his weakness. Courtiers smiled through clenched teeth, choking on the stench that clung to him. It was not the musk of perfume or the sweat of labor. It was something deeper, something rancid. The smell of decay, leaking from a man who was still alive. Physicians were summoned, again and again, but each time they recoiled. They drained boils, they lanced his skin, they mixed potions of herbs and mercury, yet nothing slowed the corruption spreading through his flesh. The emperor's body grew grotesque, his stomach distended, his skin purple and veined. The palace grew thick with incense to mask the odor, but it seeped through, clinging to curtains, tapestries, even the very stone of the walls. At night, Joseph raved in his chambers. He heard whispers in the dark, ghostly voices of kings who had come before him, mocking him, laughing at his broken body. Servants who tended him swore they saw shadows crawling across the ceiling, as if rot itself had taken shape to claim him. And still, he clung to life, clutching his crown, insisting that he would not be remembered as weak. But the horror was only beginning. In his final days, Joseph's body swelled beyond recognition. His abdomen ballooned grotesquely, his skin stretched so thin it looked ready to tear. He wheezed with every breath, his chest rattling like a coffin lid in the wind. Priests circled his bed, whispering prayers, but even they dared not touch him. Everyone knew the end was near. And then came the night of terror. Joseph convulsed violently, his body lurching, his mouth foaming. Courtiers rushed forward, then froze as his swollen stomach heaved upward like a cauldron about to boil over. The chamber fell silent, the only sound his ragged, choking gasps. And then, with a deafening rupture, his body split apart. His abdomen burst open, spraying the room in a torrent of blackened, foul-smelling fluid. The stench was unbearable, sickly sweet, like meat left rotting in the sun magnified 100 times. Candles flickered and died as if the very air refused to carry light. Screams filled the chamber. Nobles staggered backward, gagging, vomiting, some fainting where they stood, their fine silks soaked in the emperor's remains. The explosion was so violent that one servant swore the emperor's lifeless eyes rolled open for a brief, mocking moment, staring into the horrified faces of his court. His body collapsed inward, skin sloughing off in sheets, until there was nothing left but a grotesque heap of flesh and fluids pooling on the royal bed. By dawn, the palace reeked like a plague house. No amount of incense could smother the odor. The priests demanded his corpse be sealed at once. They hammered shut his coffin, nails echoing through the halls like funeral bells, while desperate servants scrubbed the floors in vain. His burial was a rushed, shameful affair. No grand ceremony, no final parade through the streets, only the frantic attempt to bury the stench, to hide the memory of the horror. But death did not bring peace. Villagers near his resting place swore the earth above his grave grew black and sour. Flowers refused to bloom there, animals fled from it, and on certain nights, when the wind shifted, a rancid odor crept through the village streets. They whispered it was Joseph's corruption, leaking through the soil, too foul even for the earth to contain. And so ended the reign of Spain's exploding emperor. Not with dignity, not with triumph, but with a scream, a stench, and a memory that haunted every man and woman who witnessed it. His legacy was not power, not wealth, not glory, only the grotesque reminder that flesh rots, crowns crumble, and kings are not spared the grave's cruel hunger. So tell me, when you walk alone through a crumbling palace and catch a sudden foul stench in the air, do you breathe it in, or do you wonder if Joseph has returned, reminding us all that no matter how high you rise, in the end we all explode into nothing but rot?